People with disabilities make up over 40% of the people who are homeless in America. I never imagined I'd be one of them. My name is Pamela Marshall, and I'm a CSH Speak Up advocate. In 2003, I was a single mom living in a two-bedroom house with my two daughters. I was working as a hairstylist, and the girls were doing well in school. Things in my life were going pretty decent for a change. My girls were both born by C-section, but in '98, when I had my youngest daughter, something weird happened. I ended up being in a lot of pain from the waist down, especially in my left leg. But even in pain, I had to press on. I had responsibilities. One day I woke up really sick and in terrible pain all over. I went to the ER. I was admitted and diagnosed with cellulitis. The cause was lymphedema, which has no cure and no pain relief. I was devastated about it all, but especially about not being able to go back to work. I was bedridden 7 months while my bills and my problems were piling up. I began drinking and using heavier than ever before. I was picking up new habits, abusing painkillers, trying, but failing to ease the pain and the fear of what was to come, like giving up my girls. That was the hardest. But I knew I could not take them where I was going. When I made it to Skid Row in 2010, I was scared, alone, racked with pain and guilt because I'd failed. It felt like I really needed to stay drunk and high to deal with that place. You see, at that point, I honestly felt like there was no hope for change. But one morning, I walked into the downtown Women's Center. I was dead tired, and a woman behind the desk saw me. Not the outer shell of what I'd become. She saw me. She called me over and asked me what's wrong. For the first time, I really got honest about my addictions and everything. She talked to me about complete recovery and affordable supportive housing. These were the exact things that I needed for a new start. I went into treatment, then to a sober living home. I even had to return to Skid Row 3.5 years sober. And it was hard, but not as hard as before. You see, this time I came back with a totally different mindset. I stayed at the Union Rescue Mission for 8 months, and I refused to give up. When I moved into my place, just being able to take care of my basic needs meant so much to me. It removed so much stress, and things began to improve in my life. Then I got a job as a peer advocate for Skid Row Housing Trust, right down the block from me. Who knew that my pain had purpose and that there was something just for me right there in that very place that I didn't want to be? Last November, my case manager asked me to apply for an open case manager position. I went back and forth with the idea for a while because Skid Row Housing Trust never hired a resident as a case manager. In January, I started my new position. I recently moved into my brand new beautiful apartment, and everything is working out. Not just for myself, but as I am recovering, so are my adult daughters and my grandson. I'm off Skid Row, but still dedicated to the front line. My lived expertise has opened the door to the work that I do, and it makes a huge difference in giving back. Whether it's in sharing my story, providing case management, or lovingly sharing resources with a complete stranger in need. I am living proof that anything is possible. If you only knew where my girls, my grandson, and I have been, what we've been through, then what we've overcome, you would have no choice to believe that too. From now on, when you see a homeless person, please remember my story and believe me when I tell you that people on the streets have value and purpose. I know because I was one of them. My name is Pamela, and I'm your neighbor.